180 program, getting rid of sugar is one of the things that you do, and you have the moment where, Hart, I call it, you cross the bridge, where you'll have the day or the day and a half where, like, your body is dumping out all the sugar, and you're like, you could choke someone. There's like the 24-hour period that you got to get through, and then you do, and you're okay.
Right, it's not long.
No.
It's a quick transition, and then you get to the point where I continue to say I miss some of the structure of being on program. I'm in maintenance now, which gives me my liberties, but I kind of miss the program.
Look at this. And that was your college football minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Sponsored by Awaken 180.
Is this what?
Hey, you want to hear about losing weight and losing players? We got it for you here on
This is what the Patriots have driven us to. We can't even talk about them. We don't even want to talk about them.
So it's about time, by the way, because when I first got here, the one thing they told us not to talk about was college football. Forget about college sports. No,
you mean WEEI.
We don't talk college sports here. We're a pro town, and you focus on the Red Sox and the Patriots and the Celtics, and the Bruins are last.
Christian, I don't know anything about college football, so we are not going to talk about it.
It's just amazing.
Patriots fans are getting more knowledgeable about college football every week because they've been watching Bo Nix and Michael Penix and Jaden Daniels and all these guys. Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody, it's so funny. Everybody is like a draft scout expert now, and I went and saw one of their practices, and he got hurt, and you know what? He stayed in practice. He wouldn't even leave. That's the kind of spirit we like.
Absolutely.
We like that type of, and that is what you're doing.
Make sure we don't mock it, because the Six Rings podcast is going to ride this gravy train from January through April.
No, listen, don't think we're not doing the same thing. Are you kidding me? We're probably among the 4 people or 3 people, because I won't lump Fitzy in. If we need a craft beer, Fitzy knows where to go. If it's college football, I'm not so sure. But the 3 of us are watching it. We consume it. We call games, all that stuff. Yeah, it will be interesting, because you're right. There will be a what will happen is that there'll be the quarterback that'll get written about early. I'm going to say it's Jaden Daniels.
Absolutely.
Because people don't know about him enough, and he'll probably finish second in the Heisman, and that hype train will begin just off of what some possible AI writer at Sports Illustrated may have written about the guy.
Yeah, first of all, side story. I came across an AI written story like 5 years ago doing draft prep. Literally, I figured it out halfway through because it said the Senior Bowl was in Cellular, Alabama. And I'm like, Cellular? It had
the new city.
Jim Nagy's all pissed off.
Mobile.
They all showed up at the wrong spot.
Yeah, because it thought Mobile and Cellular, mobile phone. Mobile.
Stop it.
I swear to God. This, and that's how and then I kept reading the story and realized this was written by like a computer or something. This was early AI writing from pre-SI days. But no, Jaden Daniels is interesting because a while ago I I even said, you get Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe you take Jaden Daniels in the end of the first round or early second round. You do that Chargers thing with Tomlinson and Breeze. And now I'm reading mock drafts. People are telling me that Jaden Daniels is going in the top 3 or 4 picks. So
give it time.
Silly season is going to be so enjoyable around here where we can actually look at, like, today there was Dane Brugler's mock draft, Drake May. Everybody's on the Drake May train. Or Caleb Williams, he's going to slide. He's been the number 1 pick for 2+ years. Now all of a sudden he's not going to be the number 1 pick. I'm happy to take Caleb Williams. I would take the chance that he's a dink to see if he's also the next Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, wow.
You don't like him?
I am.
His dinkiness bothers you?
Yeah, it's the there's lack of accountability vibes with him. And you know what we just got done saying with Dion, where it was hey, if it's perfect, it's for him.
Yep.
That's what it feels like with Caleb Williams. He searched for the perfect situation.
But can't we find a wart with everybody?
No, we can. But I think when you're talking about the number 1 pick in the draft, like if this were a second or a third round quarterback, it would turn into the way Kirk Cousins was viewed. Remember when they drafted Cousins? It was, he might not be the most affable guy and his teammates might not love him or whatever, but that guy had the right mentality to play the position. This is a kid who has searched out not only more money at such a young age, the right situation, and then when it goes sideways, it's the lack of accountability that really sends a red flag.
It does, and that's the one thing I always say is we can do as much research as we want and watch these guys and read up on them and blah, blah, blah. But you have no idea. You need to spend not hours, days with somebody, right, to start to get a feel for what makes them tick. like how they're wired. And certainly how he's wired is a major question right now. Just like the flip side, there's a guy out there who's a dog, and he's going to get, the Tom Brady type, right? Who's going to have a chip on his shoulder when he doesn't go where he wants to go. And you can't know that as an outsider. And that's why it's so difficult for all this talk we're going to be doing. We have to trust others to do it for us, right? To do some of the legwork on kind of peeling back the layers of what these quarterbacks are. But that's literally going to be the talking point for us for, what is it, the next 5 months?
Well, usually it wouldn't happen until like mid-January because you would still be talking about like the playoffs and maybe the Super Bowl. And then you're like, all right, you're going to have a dead period where it's kind of boring. But now, okay, let's get into the draft. Let's get into the combine because look at the Senior Bowl. And we'll start digging into that and all the different, scouts or ex-players who will watch film and say why this guy is good, why that guy is good. The reality is, like, I think the question for me is, like, even though we got the Chargers coming in a couple days here, it's like, okay, is Bill the guy that's going to be making those decisions?
Well, I can tell you, scientifically speaking, a majority of Patriots fans do not want him to be. I ran that poll last night, and 53% of Patriots fans want Bill Belichick gone right now. And that's with like 1,600 votes or something, so I feel like that's enough to qualify for a Quinnipiac poll or something.
New York Times is reporting.
Right. So, I mean, a majority of Patriots fans are ready to move on. I'm with them, and I think it is time I just posted a column. We're now no longer in Bill Belichick's world. We're in Robert Kraft's world. It's his time. He's in 6 weeks from now. Just like he did a year ago, he gave us a little sampling.
You
when
always
he sent that
have
letter.
been. You just haven't realized.
No, you do, but he's letting you do your job. Now he's going to have to step in. And I thought it was interesting yesterday that Bill O'Brien meeting with the media when he brought up the chain of command in New England and said Robert Kraft's at the top, then Bill Belichick, almost like he's reminding everybody, including Bill, that he has a boss, and then said owners make decisions. They're the ones that make decisions, and those decisions are certainly coming, right? Like he's going to decide Bill's future. I think he probably already has the answer, and I think he probably is going to, in some form or fashion, move on, which is why I find it interesting. They had the Commanders in town, 3 weeks ago, and now they have the Chargers in town. Two maybe options for where you could trade Bill Belichick, where you can rub elbows with Josh Harris or the Spanos family and maybe start to lay the foundation for what could be a trade of Bill Belichick. So I think it's going to be really interesting this week.
Is it interesting that you're probably going to get the same lineup at quarterback that you got last week? Is that what we're all
we're
assuming?
not doing that, right? We're not doing it.
Because that is, well, I mean, I'm saying that we're not, because it's going to be the same. It's not.
It ain't changing.
What do you mean, nope?
Zappy.
Zappy's not going to start.
No
Zappy's
way.
starting.
Hey, where have you been on this? Have you been hitting on your numbers? Have you been correctly predicting what's going to happen, or have you been off?
I've been relatively correct. I thought Mac would start last week. Now I don't think you can. I actually think Mac should be inactive this week, but I don't think you can do that. I don't know who else you're going to have
Andy,
as the backup.
Andy.
Yes.
I think I asked you just
Christian. Legend from Buffalo tight end.
Can I have a new intro? Like, you cannot say my name without saying legend.
Legendary
of something.
Buffalo.
There you go. Legendary Buffalo. I used to roam the plains in Boulder, Colorado. On the Six Rings post-game show.
Yeah.
I think the question I asked you was, based on what you saw from both guys, they each played a half.
Yeah.
If you knew nothing about the backstory or the history, and you just had to make a decision on who was going to start, who you thought deserved to play, who you thought could protect the football and do the best for your team, to put your team in the best position to win, which quarterback would you pick?
So just observing, I would say, honestly, they both stink.
Yeah.
They're both going to put you in bad positions. But one is flailing his arms and not happy and then pouting and the other is just going about his business stinking, and that would be Zappy. So I think Zappy is more mentally ready to go play right now, and I think that should be the deciding factor because I think they're both going to throw the ball toward the other team, to the other team, whatever. They're going to put you in bad positions. That's just the reality. They both can complete a few screen passes and move the ball a little bit at some random occasions. But I think it should be Zappy. And I do think and now people got mad at me this week on Twitter because they're like, no, we want Mac back out there. We're trying to get the number one pick. And I'm like, you're going to be in line to get the number one pick whether Zappy or Mac plays. It's almost irrelevant to the situation. But I think organizationally, if you put Mac back out there, I don't ever want to hear they won't tank. I don't ever want to hear they won't do things that are irresponsible, because I think it's borderline irresponsible to put Mac back out there in the current state he's in.
Yeah,
but he was
over
that way.
Zappy, like
I know,
that's on Hart's comment on the whole, don't say you're not ever tanking. I mean, it's not putting Bailey Zappi out there. Like
Bailey Zappi has won
good
games
Lord.
in the last year in the National Football League. Bailey Zappi was drafted. Bailey Zappi, I would say very simply,
Was cut
is
and
not
every
good.
team laughed.
He's not good, but he's not broken. He's not good, but he's not broken. That should be the description of Bailey Zappi. He is not a good quarterback. I want to emphasize that. I'm not saying Bailey Zappi is the better talent. I'm saying he's not the puddle of goo that I believe Mac Jones is right now. I don't think you can put Mac back out there. So I'm going to say, in the best interest of the football team, in the best interest of credibility, I think Bill Belichick and Bill O'Brien and Robert Kraft. Hey, Bill O'Brien said Robert Kraft is involved in this decision. I think Robert even has to cut ties. He's a fan of Mac Jones. You can't be a fan of Mac Jones right now the way he's playing.
Did he say he's involved in the decision or just was deferential to the power structure?
He kind of muddied that water.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that he specifically was saying Robert decides, but he definitely included him in the decision-making
There you go.
process.
He's a part of the discussion.
Yes.
And
he
as
should
an
be.
owner, he should be, yeah.
He should be. Absolutely. He's the guy that he held the asset that was the 15th pick. Then he held the asset that was the rookie quarterback that he thought was the franchise quarterback. Remember when he said that? I think we have the quarterback and the coach back then. Well, he was trying to salvage it, so he may have been putting some pressure this year that Mac should play, and maybe he's a more supporter of Mac than others are, because that's one of his biggest, depressed assets at this point in his organization. So I have no problem with Robert, kind of doing that, guiding that, thinking that. But even Robert, he learned in Germany with his face down in his puffy black jacket that Mac stinks, and Mac is toast, and Mac is continuing to be an error repeater. You can't be an error repeater and put Mac back out there. You can't.
By the way, Hart, check out hour 2 of the Gresham Fauria podcast for Mac's latest commercial on what he might be doing next year. Check that out on WEEI.com. Yeah, it's
I look forward to it.
Use of AI Mac is fantastic. And
Is it better than that Anna Indiana singing girl? She
No
was
question.
Terrible.
Yeah, no. This is the real. This is a Billy Lanny production. This is.
I would start AI Mac over Mac.
Wow, that's.
I would.
That would be interesting, actually.
Absolutely.
Would AI Max say things differently? I don't know. Andy Hart does. You hear him all the time. Six Rings post-game show on the Breaking Boston podcast. And
Number
Six
one
Rings-
REMAX agent.
There you go. The REMAX agent. Hart, thank you, buddy. We'll see you.
See you, legend.
Thank
and Gresh.
you.
There he is.
You know what the legend is going to do next? The legend
You're
is
gonna
going
go-
to give you the legend is going to give you a
Gonna go to
special.
the can?
No. Well, yeah. If